Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. About 10 minutes into the Sunday morning soccer games, a Ford Mondeo stopped on the main road by the park. Two men sat in a car and watched one of the games before getting out and walking casually across the grass to one of the two fields. One man was dressed in a business suit and looked very smart and wealthy. The other man was wearing slacks and a t-shirt with his initials on it. "Is that him?" the second person asked. "Yes, sir," said the man in the suit. "The small boy with long fair hair that... Okay, I see who you mean. Yes, he is a natural on the ball, but he needs to put on some weight because he is a bit skinny." The man in the suit said, "Michael Owen isn't that big. He's about the same size as me. Just watch him move." "I understand what you mean. Go back to the car and leave me alone here where I won't stand out as much." He did what was asked of him. His trick almost worked. No one knew he was there except for that player's mother, who caught on right away. She knew right away that he must be the talent scout who was coming to see her early that afternoon. Boy, was he in for a surprise. He stayed for another quarter of an hour, long enough to see Robin score twice. The first time, he used his head as he jumped high in the air to steer the ball past the goalkeeper. The second time, he grabbed a through ball and beat the other team's goalkeeper before he even knew what was happening. Even though the defense wasn't very good, the scout took that into account. He also knew a good prospect when he saw one, but he never said so. He left the park after that. In the last few weeks, Grace Hamilton had seen several people watching the team her son played for. 3 weeks ago, someone even had a professional quality camera, and she knew that all the attention was on her son. By halftime, he was nowhere to be found. The coach of the team, which was made up of people from a local pub and was currently third in the Premier Division of the Parks League, told her that Robin was good enough to play professionally. She didn't think he would, though, because he was more interested in other things these days, and she was fully behind those interests, which is something not many mothers would do. This was his second year playing in the Sunday League, and the Black Dog Rovers got promoted because of the 37 goals he scored last year. Several groups tried to get him to join their side, but he was loyal to his team and wouldn't listen. Today, his team won, and he scored another hat trick. When the game was over, he quickly changed his shoes and ran down the street across from the park to his small but comfortable home. Since his father left 5 years ago, he and his mother lived alone. As he had expected, a hot bath had already been drawn for him. He slipped into the scented water quickly and sighed happily. He washed himself all over with a big sponge and then, rather lazily, washed his shoulder-length hair in the bath before adding conditioner and rinsing it under the shower that was built over the bath. After that, he rough-toweled it for a few seconds and gently dried his body while putting talcum powder all over it. He walked into his room, where his mother was waiting with a loving smile. He asked with excitement, "Are they coming, Mom?" Grace smiled at her beautiful child, a cute boy who had looked like a girl since birth, but not so much that the midwife or doctor were bothered by it. She put him in dresses when he was young, and it seemed like he liked it as much as she did. When she caught him in a dress when he was 14, she was happy and told him to wear them more often. He was also good at soccer, which is why the local talent scout came to see him today. Robin said that the visit was pointless because if he had to choose between becoming a woman and playing soccer, soccer would lose. The boy was happy and grinning because his hormones were working well. Grace had never thought that her son would want to be a woman full-time, but she had prayed that he would. If other people thought she was wrong to support him, that was their problem. Robin had persuaded her that it was what he wanted, and it seemed like they should go see their doctor. She sent Robin to a psychiatrist who talked to him for weeks and agreed to the treatment just 4 months ago. For the first year, Robin got hormone injections and pills. In those 4 months, his hips and bottom got fuller. He put on a pair of black silk pants that were just big enough. They were trimmed with lace and went with the padded A-cup bra that his mother held up for him and then clipped at the back. This was followed by a garter belt. Then he sat at the dresser and put his feet up so his mom could paint his toenails while he worked on his fingers. He was happy with the length of his fingernails because they were just long enough to look girly when painted and not too long when he wore boys' clothes. He would have liked to do his own toenails, but time was running out and he was grateful for his mother's help. Because they were in a hurry, he only put one coat of paint on his toes this morning, but he wouldn't cut corners on his fingers. While his toes were drying, Grace started brushing his hair back and putting it in the high ponytail that Robin loved so much. Now it was time to do his face. These days, he did it all by himself, and after almost 3 years of practice, he did a great job. Plus, it made him happy to do all the things his mother had taught him. Foundation was gently rubbed into his smooth, blemish-free skin, and his beard and other hair were nowhere to be seen. He added peach-colored powder, pink blush, 3 shades of eyeshadow, thin but very obvious eyeliner, and a lot of mascara to his already thick eyelashes. He made a perfect face by drawing a dark red outline around his mouth with a lip pencil and then filling it in with pink lipstick and gloss. He rolled nylons up his legs, clipped them to the garter belt, and thought they looked better than the legs of a model advertising in this week's Woman magazine. He put on a pale pink shirt and a navy blue skirt, then put on navy blue shoes with a 3-inch heel and posed for his mother to see. He sprayed perfume in all the right places, and all that was left to do was put the last coat of polish on his nails. As he started, someone knocked on the door. It was the soccer scout, and he was 3 minutes early. It didn't matter because his mother was going to talk to them first. She thought it would take about 30 minutes, so he could give his nails a coat of clear, high gloss to finish them. He was happy to think about how good he looked. "Robin, darling, stay here until I call you. I want him to say something before he sees how you look off the field, so don't worry." Grace walked down slowly to open the door for the guests. She was a beautiful woman in her own right. She was tall and elegant, with great red hair, and she was the first femme fatale until her son got the dressing-up bug. As he carefully caressed each nail with the nail polish brush, he was so close to having to go to the bathroom. He tried to hear what his mom and the Boy Scout were talking about. Grace opened the door and said, "Good afternoon, gentlemen." She then took their hands in a firm, dry grip. "I hope you had a good time at the game earlier." The scout for the local club, Mike Bailey, smiled. "How many more points did Robin get before the game was over?" "Just 1, which makes it his 4th hat trick in 5 games, which I think is some kind of record. They're now in 2nd place in the league, but they have 2 games to make up. If they win both, they'll be in 1st place, but there are still 3 months left in the season, so I guess they shouldn't get too confident." "No, Mrs. Templeton, there are, as they say, many a slip. I thought I'd see your husband, but he doesn't seem to be here." "No, Mr. Bailey, we are not together. However, he is very interested in his son's possible soccer career, which is why I'm recording our conversation. Of course, he will have a say in any decision we make. You don't mind, do you?" "No way, because I can't make any kind of offer that involves a club. I scout for 3 different clubs at different levels, and based on what I've seen, I'm sure that at least one of them will offer him a contract on junior terms. But that's not up to me. You can definitely forget about junior terms. Mr. Bailey, Robin is now good enough to play in West Brom's first team, but, and this is a big but, Premiership soccer is a lot harder than park soccer, and he will have to prove himself before he gets a chance at the senior level. By the way, where is he? I thought that he would be interested enough to come." "Yes, I'm sure you did, but he's interested in something else these days. He won't be gone for long, though, because he's just getting ready. I'll call him." Robin was at the top of the stairs when Grace called him. In her eyes, he had never been more handsome than he was this afternoon. "Come along, darling. Mr. Bailey is waiting." Robin walked down the stairs with confidence and entered the front room with a bright smile that showed off his white teeth. The 2 guests stood up at once, clearly impressed by how beautiful the young woman was. Mike Bailey said, "You must be Robin's sister." "No," Grace told Mr. Bailey. "This is Robin, and he likes to dress like this these days. Isn't he beautiful? If this is your idea of a joke, madam, I don't think it's funny. Do you mean to tell me that this young woman is Robin in a dress, or that I saw this young woman playing soccer? Mr. Bailey, the answer to both of your questions is yes. This is Robin. But soon, we'll spell it with AY instead of an EI because he's going to change. This will happen in about 6 months. His doctor will tell you that he has always been more female than male, so in a way, this young lady did play soccer earlier today. When Robin offered his hand to each of the 2 scouts, they were surprised to see that his fingernails were perfectly manicured. They were impressed on his beauty and the scent of the perfume he wore. They would never have thought that she was really a he in a million years. Then I'm sorry we all wasted our time, because women can't play in any of the major soccer leagues. I'll say good afternoon, madam, and good luck to you too, young man. Lady? Why can't my daughter-to-be play soccer in the English leagues? It's against the rules. Grace asked. Show me where that's written. I'm not sure if I can put it in writing for you because it's one of those unwritten rules that have been around since the beginning of time. Mr. Bailey, what do you think the European Court of Human Rights will say about that? Lucky for me, that's not my problem. But you might have to deal with it. Here, Robin, is the player you saw earlier today, and we're willing to recommend to the Premier League club you work for. Now, because he wants to turn into a girl, you say that you can't. Well, you can try if you want to, but I don't think you'll get very far. Good afternoon to both of you, but especially to you, young Robin. After they left, Robin sat down and looked at her nails. She gently filed the ends of 2 fingers to make sure they were perfect. Well, if you can't be a soccer player, you'll be a movie star. A real screen siren, my darling. Oh, yes, Mom, I think that would be better. Soccer is fun and all, but being my real self is what really matters. I am happy now. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.